Well, welcome back. The crime surge in New York City now spreading to children. According to data from the NYPD, the number of children shot in the city has nearly doubled from the same time last year. As of March 15th, 24 children have been shot, compared to 13 this time last year. Joining me right now is New York Congressman Andrew Garbarino. He is a member of the Homeland Security and Small Business Committees. Congressman, it's good to see you today. Thanks very much for being here. Assess the crime situation in your state.
It's terrible. I mean, it just keeps getting worse and worse after these bail reform laws that happened several years ago under Governor Cuomo, and the fact that the legislature hasn't changed them. It has gotten worse and worse because criminals are let out onto the street, and our police have their hands tied behind their back. They can't do anything. It's awful, and it's getting worse and worse, and people have had enough.
Well, people have had enough. I know that a new NBC News poll shows 75% of voters are more likely to vote for a candidate who supports funding the police and providing the resources and training that the police need to protect our communities. Congressman, you are an elected official. What can you do about this?
Well, we're trying to do what we can here in Washington to support our police, to get as much funding. There's some proposals that we're trying to get through in the budget that just came out that would send money to local police departments, because states like New York, they're actually taking the money away from police departments. Under the former Mayor Bill de Blasio, they removed $1 billion from the New York City Police Department budget. There's the governor's trying to make tiny changes to bail reform right now, and you have members in the state legislature on hunger strikes. They're not listening to the people. They think they're right. They think, oh, the crime going up because of bail reform. They say that's fake. That's not real. The proof is in the pudding. I mean, everything. These bail reform laws happened. The money was taken away from police officers. Support was taken away from police officers, and now crime is through the roof. We need to get back to the basics. Put criminals behind bars and support our cops.
So, Congressman, the president released his budget proposal the other day, a $5.8 trillion budget, and it was clearly targeted at Senators Manchin and Sinema because of the higher taxes, because of the money that he's earmarking toward law enforcement. There's $32 billion in new spending to fight crime, as well as an effort to kickstart the final push for a scaled-down reconciliation bill. How likely is the budget expected to pass? I want to get your take on this, because when you look at these budget numbers, you're talking about a 20% increase in spending at the IRS versus a 4% increase in spending for defense. This doesn't make sense to me, as our adversaries are rising, and certainly it doesn't keep up with the level of inflation, the spending on defense. But what about the level of spending on law enforcement? And do you think this is going to move the needle?
Well, we always like to see an increase in money for our police, our law enforcement. But the size of this budget bill, it's ridiculous. When you're seeing inflation as high as it is now, record highs, and they're just throwing more money out the door and saying, hey, let's just keep spending. Pretty soon the dollar is going to be worthless if they keep spending this way. I hope this budget doesn't pass as is. There's a lot of bad things in there. The spending is way too much. And like you said, we're in the middle of a war right now, and defense spending is only going up by 4%. China and Russia and our adversaries overseas are spending a lot more money on us, building up their navy, building up their armies. We need to make sure that we stay on the same level as them. If we don't, it's just leading to a disaster.
Well, Jack Keane has made the point many times on this program that right now the Navy in China is larger than the U.S. Navy. It needs massive updating. But I want to get your take on cyber, because, Congressman, you are the ranking member on the House Subcommittee on Cybersecurity. How serious should we be taking these potential Russia cyber threats, and what can we do about it?
It's the number one threat that we face is our cyber attacks from our adversaries, especially Russia. We've already been attacked by them. We had, everybody remembers Colonial Pipeline. We're practically attacked thousands of times a day from people in Russia, possibly even the Russian government. We all need to be. It's got to be all hands on deck. Whether it's the Cybersecurity Information Security Agency, whether it's the FBI, whether it's just local people, everybody needs to be ready, be prepared. The cyber attacks are very troublesome.
Very real as well. Congressman, thank you. Andrew Garbarino joining us this morning in New York. We will be right back. Stay with us.